You're wasting your life trying to win battles that were never meant to be yours. You're draining your energy trying to prove something to people who don't even care. And while you're chasing validation, attention, and approval, you're forgetting the most important thing, yourself. Let me tell you the hard truth. You're being stupid. Not because you're not smart, not because you're not capable, but because you're playing the wrong game. You're focusing on everything except what matters. And every day you spend doing that, you're handing over your power like it's worthless. It's time to stop. Focus on yourself. Reclaim your mind. You spend so much of your time, energy, and identity chasing after the approval of others, and you don't even realize how much it's costing you. Every time you look over your shoulder to see if they're clapping, every time you shrink yourself to fit in, every time you silence your voice to avoid judgment, you are handing away a piece of your power. You may not call it validation seeking, but that's exactly what it is. You're tailoring your actions, your dreams, and even your personality to match what you think others will accept. And in doing so, you're trading authenticity for attention. The truth is, most people are so focused on themselves that they rarely think about you in the way you think they do. And yet, you're making their opinion the compass for your life. You dress a certain way because you want to impress. You talk a certain way because you want to be liked. You pursue things not because they light your soul on fire, but because someone else might applaud you for it. That's not freedom. That's imprisonment. That's emotional slavery, and until you break free from this pattern, you'll never truly know who you are or what you're capable of becoming. When you live for their approval, you die by their rejection. You set yourself up for emotional turbulence that never ends. Because the truth is, people are fickle. What they admire today, they might mock tomorrow. If your confidence rises and falls based on applause or criticism, then you'll always be on unstable ground. You'll never feel at peace, never feel enough, never feel whole, because your self-worth is being outsourced to people who don't even know your full story. You think getting attention or being noticed will fill the void inside you, but it won't. What fills that void is learning to sit with yourself, love yourself, and validate your own path without needing a standing ovation. Because when you learn to clap for yourself, when you learn to be proud of who you're becoming, even when no one else sees it, you become powerful. You become grounded. You become whole. External validation is temporary. It fades, it changes, and it's never guaranteed. But self-validation, that's a power source you can carry with you no matter what room you walk into. Most people don't even recognize that they're addicted to validation. It's so embedded in how we move, think, post, speak, and decide. You post something online and check every few minutes to see how many likes you got. You tell someone your goal and feel discouraged when they don't seem impressed. You hesitate to take a bold step just because someone might not understand it. This isn't just bad for your confidence. It's a slow erosion of your identity. Over time, you become a mirror reflecting what others want to see instead of a light shining from who you truly are. Well, this is why focusing on yourself is so important. Not selfishly, not arrogantly, but intentionally. When you stop chasing validation and start chasing self-respect, everything changes. You start making decisions based on your values, not their opinions. You start building a life that fulfills you, not one that merely looks good from the outside. You become less reactive to rejection, less desperate for praise, and more in tune with your soul. That's where your real power lives. Think about how much energy you've spent worrying about what people might think. Think about how many dreams you've delayed because you didn't want to be judged. Think about how often you've edited your truth to be more palatable, more acceptable, more likable. That's not strength. That's a slow death. It's time to reclaim your voice, your choices, your life. Validation is not a currency you need to survive. It's a bonus, not a requirement. The real reward is being able to look in the mirror and know that you stayed true to yourself. You don't need a crowd to tell you you're valuable. You don't need applause to know you're worthy. You don't need a million likes to be enough. What you need is to be so solid in who you are that whether people praise you or ignore you, you keep going. Whether they understand you or not, you stay aligned. Whether they believe in you or not, you believe in yourself. Because the minute you start living for you, not them, is the minute you become unstoppable. Brutal honesty with yourself is the beginning of all transformation, yet it's the one thing most people run from their entire lives. It's easier to blame, easier to distract yourself, easier to pretend everything's fine, when deep down, you know it's not. You say you want to grow, you say you want to be successful, fulfilled, respected, and strong, but are you really willing to face the uncomfortable truths required to get there? Are you really ready to confront the parts of yourself that are holding you back? Because until you are, you're stuck. You'll keep repeating the same cycles, having the same problems, and wondering why nothing ever changes. The hardest conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself in silence. No filters, no justifications, no sugarcoating, just truth. The raw, unfiltered truth about your choices, your mindset, your habits, your excuses, your insecurities, your fears. That's the foundation of growth. Without it, everything else is surface level. You can read all the books, watch all the motivational videos, and post all the quotes, but if you're not being honest with yourself, none of it matters. It won't stick, it won't last, and it won't change you. Most people are more comfortable lying to themselves than admitting they're the problem. They'd rather blame other people, circumstances, or the world than admit they've been procrastinating, playing small, settling, or avoiding discomfort. But growth demands discomfort. It demands responsibility. It demands you look in the mirror and stop pointing fingers outward and instead start asking hard questions inward. Why do you keep sabotaging yourself? Why do you stay in situations that drain you? Why do you keep avoiding the work you know you need to do? Those answers are uncomfortable, but they're necessary. Being brutally honest with yourself means admitting when you've been lazy. It means recognizing when you've let fear dictate your actions. It means acknowledging when you've talked about change more than you've actually changed. It means seeing the gap between who you say you want to be and who you actually show up as and doing something about it. That's not self-hate. That's self-awareness. That's self-respect. Real growth doesn't come from affirming yourself all the time. It comes from correcting yourself, holding yourself accountable, and calling yourself out. You can't change what you won't confront. You can't heal what you keep hiding. You can't rise if you keep lying to yourself. You tell yourself you don't have time, but the truth is you waste hours every day on things that don't serve you. You tell yourself you're trying your best, but deep down, you know you're playing it safe. You tell yourself you're waiting for the right moment, but you've been saying that for years. Brutal honesty doesn't care about your comfort. It cares about your freedom. It breaks down illusions so you can build a life based on truth, not fantasy. That's the reason most people stay stuck. They're not willing to face what's real. They'd rather believe they're the victim, that life is unfair, that they're unlucky, that the world is out to get them. It's easier to protect your ego than to challenge it. But your ego is not your friend. It's the part of you that wants to stay the same. It's the part that resists growth, change, and accountability. When you stop protecting your ego and start protecting your future, everything shifts. You stop defending your limitations and start dismantling them. Look around your life right now. Every result you're getting is a reflection of your patterns, not your potential. If you're not where you want to be, it's not because you're not capable. It's because something in your thinking or behavior needs to change. That's not judgment, that's power, because once you're honest about what's not working, you can fix it. But as long as you keep pretending, you're powerless. You'll keep making excuses, justifying mediocrity, and clinging to comfort zones that are slowly suffocating your potential. You don't need more motivation, you need more truth. You need to stop lying about how serious you are. You need to stop telling yourself you're doing everything you can when you know you're not. You need to stop masking fear as logic, procrastination as patience, and comfort as peace. You need to strip away the delusion and get real with yourself about where you are, where you're going, and what it's going to take to get there. The truth might sting at first, but it will set you free. Because the version of you that can handle the truth is the version of you that can handle success, responsibility, greatness, and discipline. That version of you is already inside. You just have to stop protecting the lie to let it come alive. No one is coming to save you. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner your life begins to change. The faster you stop waiting for someone to rescue you, help you, guide you, or fix you, the faster you step into your own power. Taking full responsibility for your life means owning every outcome, good or bad, without excuses, without pointing fingers, without blaming your past, your parents, your circumstances, or the people who hurt you. It means understanding that no matter what happened to you, it's still on you to change the direction of your life. That's not about fault. It's about power. When you blame others, you give them control. When you own your life, you take that control back. Most people wait. They wait for the perfect timing. They wait for motivation. They wait for someone to believe in them. They wait for a break, a handout, a sign from the universe, or someone to show up and make things easier. But life doesn't reward waiting. It rewards action. It rewards effort. It rewards those who take responsibility, even when it would be easier to blame. And that level of ownership, complete radical ownership, is rare because it's hard. It forces you to admit that your life is a reflection of your decisions, your mindset, your discipline, and your standards. That's a heavy truth, but it's also the most liberating one. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. That response is your power. Every time you choose to take ownership instead of playing the victim, you build resilience, you build strength, you build momentum, and that momentum compounds. You stop waiting for opportunities and start creating them. You stop chasing people and start attracting them. You stop needing validation because you become rooted in purpose and direction. That's what responsibility gives you: clarity, control, and confidence. When you take responsibility, you stop complaining. Complaining is a symptom of powerlessness. It's what people do when they've given up ownership. You'll hear people say things like, I can't catch a break, or life's just not fair, or this always happens to me. But those aren't facts. They're patterns. They're reflections of a mindset that refuses to accept responsibility. Because when you're focused on solutions, not problems, you don't waste time whining. You get to work. You adapt, you evolve, and even when things go wrong, you don't collapse, you rise. There's a point where you have to look at your life and be brutally honest. No one is going to fix it for you. No mentor, no boss, no parent, no partner, no government, no system is going to hand you the life you dream of. You have to build it, brick by brick, day by day, through setbacks, through rejection, through failure, through silence. And the only way to do that is by deciding that you are responsible for it all. Your energy, your emotions, your habits, your choices, your results, they're all on you. That's not harsh. That's reality. And once you stop resisting that truth, you become unstoppable. People talk about wanting freedom. They say they want to live on their terms, chase their goals, live fully. But freedom has a price, and that price is responsibility. The more responsibility you take, the more freedom you earn. The less responsibility you accept, the more dependent you become. Dependent on people to support you. Dependent on others to make you feel valuable. Dependent on external circumstances to make you feel safe. But when you take full ownership, you don't wait for someone to open the door. You build your own. You don't hope someone helps you. You help yourself. And that mindset, that's what separates those who stay stuck from those who succeed. It's not about being perfect. It's not about getting everything right all the time. It's about refusing to run. Refusing to hide behind excuses, refusing to let fear dictate your future. Because when you take responsibility, even failure becomes a lesson. Even setbacks become fuel. And even when everything feels uncertain, you still know who's in control. You. The journey might be hard. The road might be long. But the power to rise, rebuild, and rewrite your story has always been yours. All it takes is one decision: to stop waiting and start owning every part of your life. Most people don't realize how distracted they are until it's too late. You wake up and immediately reach for your phone, scrolling through meaningless noise before your feet even hit the ground. You let messages, notifications, and other people's opinions shape your mindset for the day. You start your morning reactive instead of intentional, and from that moment on, your focus is no longer yours. It's scattered. It's hijacked. It's diluted by everything pulling at your attention except the one thing that truly matters, your growth. You think you're just staying informed or connected, but what you're actually doing is surrendering your time, your energy, and your clarity to distractions disguised as importance. When you don't guard your focus, the world will eat it alive. Social media, gossip, drama, fear-based news, mindless entertainment, they're all engineered to keep you passive, emotional, and addicted. They steal your attention in small doses, quietly, consistently, until one day you wake up and realize you haven't made real progress in months or even years. You keep saying you're going to do better, be more disciplined, finally get serious, but your actions say otherwise. Because your focus is fractured, and without focused energy, nothing great can be built. Focus is the foundation of all success, and yet it's the very thing you keep giving away for free. People say they don't have time. That's the biggest lie. You have time. What you don't have is discipline. You don't have boundaries. You don't have the self-respect to protect your focus like your life depends on it, because it does. Where your attention goes, your life follows. If you spend your energy constantly watching others, comparing, consuming, reacting, then that's the life you're building. One of distraction, not creation. You're so busy watching other people live their lives that you forget to build your own. You're so caught up in external noise that you can't hear your inner voice, that voice that's trying to tell you what matters, that voice that knows your purpose, your calling, your next step. If you're going to win in life, you have to be ruthless with your focus. You have to decide that not everything deserves your time. Not every notification needs a response. Not every invitation needs acceptance. You can't be everything to everyone and expect to become someone to yourself. You can't keep saying yes to distractions and expect to have the clarity to chase your dreams. There's a cost to everything, and every time you choose comfort over focus, you pay with your future. Every time you pick convenience over discipline, you sacrifice progress. That trade-off is invisible in the moment, but it's lethal over time. The people who succeed aren't always the smartest, the most talented, or the most privileged. They're the most focused. They know what they want, and they block out everything that doesn't serve it. They say no more than they say yes. They structure their days, protect their energy, and guard their minds like their dreams depend on it, because they do. And if you're serious about becoming who you're meant to be, you need to do the same. You need to cut off the things that are stealing your fire. You need to eliminate the noise that keeps you small. You need to stop giving your power to distractions that offer nothing in return. Every day you have a choice to move with purpose or drift with distraction. Most people drift. They go through the motions. They confuse movement with progress. But busy isn't the same as effective. You can be busy all day and still be nowhere closer to your goals simply because your energy is scattered. You're multitasking, switching tabs, jumping from one dopamine hit to another and calling it productivity. It's not. It's avoidance. It's fear. It's a refusal to do the hard, focused work that growth demands. And until you confront that, nothing changes. You have to train your focus like a muscle. Start small. Turn off your notifications. Set boundaries. Say no more often. Spend time alone, without noise, without distraction, and listen to your own thoughts. Rediscover what actually matters to you, not what the algorithm thinks should matter. Focus is your superpower in a distracted world. It separates the ones who talk from the ones who execute, the ones who dream from the ones who do, the ones who stay stuck from the ones who break free. And the moment you stop letting the world control your attention is the moment you start taking your power back. You don't rise by accident, you rise by discipline. The gap between who you are and who you want to be is filled with choices. And most of those choices come down to discipline, doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Discipline is not about feeling motivated all the time. It's about becoming the kind of person who shows up regardless of motivation. It's about building habits that align with your future instead of indulging in comforts that satisfy your present laziness. Discipline is the only bridge between goals and achievement, and the people who master it are the ones who separate themselves from the crowd. Everyone wants results, but very few are willing to show up consistently and do the work without applause, without validation, without quick rewards. Most people are ruled by their emotions. If they feel tired, they rest. If they feel bored, they scroll. If they feel unmotivated, they quit. But discipline isn't ruled by emotion. It's built on principle. It's rooted in identity. When you decide you're going to be disciplined, you're deciding that your future matters more than your mood. You stop negotiating with weakness. You stop letting excuses win. You stop letting your feelings determine your direction. Because feelings come and go, but discipline stays. It stays when it's hard. It stays when it's boring. It stays when it's inconvenient. And because it stays, you grow, you sharpen, you rise. Discipline isn't about perfection. It's not about being a machine. It's about commitment. It's about getting back up when you fail, showing up when it's inconvenient, pushing through when it gets uncomfortable. And the truth is, it's going to be uncomfortable. Growth always is. Discipline hurts in the moment, but it saves you from long-term pain. The pain of regret. The pain of staying stuck, the pain of wondering what could have been if only you'd been more focused, more consistent, more serious. You either suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. There's no escaping the cost, but only one of those leads to freedom. People talk about wanting confidence, but real confidence doesn't come from looking good or sounding smart. It comes from keeping promises to yourself. It comes from knowing you're doing the work even when nobody's watching. That's where self-respect is born. Every time you do what you said you'd do, even when you didn't feel like it, you reinforce your identity as someone who's reliable, consistent, and strong. And that identity starts to drive your behavior. Suddenly, waking up early isn't a punishment. It's who you are. Eating clean, training hard, reading, building, grinding. It's not a chore. It's your standard. Discipline turns goals into identity. And once that shift happens, it becomes harder not to show up than it is to quit. You can tell everything you need to know about a person by how they handle discipline. Do they chase instant gratification or do they delay it for long-term gain? Do they stay consistent only when things are easy or do they push through resistance? Do they wait to feel ready or do they create readiness by acting? Discipline is the great separator. It's what divides the average from the exceptional, the talkers from the doers, the ones who wish from the ones who will. Because everyone wants to win, but not everyone wants to work. Everyone wants the reward, but few are willing to endure the routine. Discipline is what turns desire into destiny. It's not glamorous. No one's clapping when you choose the grind over the party. No one's cheering when you say no to distractions. No one's praising you for waking up early, sacrificing comfort, or working through failure. But those unseen moments are the ones that define you. That's where your character is forged. That's where your future is built. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Not when it's easy, but when it's hard. And the more you lean into those moments, the more you become someone who doesn't just set goals, but hits them again and again. There will be days you want to quit. There will be moments when your mind tells you to rest, delay, compromise. That's when discipline speaks the loudest, not by shouting, but by showing up again and again. Because when you build discipline, you build freedom. Freedom to live on your terms, to be proud of who you are, to create a life that reflects your values instead of your impulses. Discipline is hard, but it's worth it because nothing you want is possible without it. If you keep waiting for the perfect moment, you'll be waiting forever. So many people sabotage their own progress by convincing themselves that now isn't the right time. They say they'll start after the weekend, after the holidays, after they feel better, after the situation changes, after they feel ready. But here's the truth. There is no perfect time. There is no magical alignment of circumstances that makes everything easy and comfortable. If you keep waiting for things to get easier, you'll keep waiting while your life passes you by. The people who achieve anything meaningful in life don't wait until they're ready. They start anyway. They act in uncertainty. They move with fear. They take the leap while their legs are shaking. And that's what separates those who evolve from those who remain stuck. You can have every dream, every goal, every plan written out perfectly, but if you don't act on it, it's worthless. Action is the only thing that moves the needle forward. Thinking doesn't build. Planning doesn't change your life. Overanalyzing doesn't create success. Action does. You can read every book, listen to every podcast, and attend every seminar, but if you never take uncomfortable action, you'll never cross the line from potential to power. Most people don't lack knowledge. They lack movement. They keep feeding themselves more information, more advice, more motivation, all in the name of preparation, but really, it's just procrastination wearing a mask. They're afraid to start small. They're afraid to fail. They're afraid to not be perfect from day one, so they do nothing. They stay in the comfort zone, convincing themselves that they're being smart when really they're just being scared. Taking action isn't about being reckless. It's about being bold. It's about moving forward even when you don't have all the answers, even when you're uncertain, even when there's risk. Because the truth is, nothing grows without risk. Nothing improves without effort. You're not supposed to have it all figured out before you begin. That's not how growth works. You figure it out along the way. You learn by doing. You sharpen your instincts through real experiences, not through overthinking. And the more you move, the more you learn. The more you do, the more clarity you gain. That's the paradox of progress. Clarity follows action, not the other way around. There will always be a reason not to start. There will always be fear, distraction, doubt, and uncertainty. But the ones who succeed are the ones who move anyway. They've learned that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to act in spite of it. They've accepted that growth is uncomfortable, that the path won't be perfect, and that mistakes are part of the process. And because they've accepted it, they're free to try, fail, learn, and try again, free to build momentum, even if it's messy, free to take responsibility for their own success. That's the difference between winners and wishers. Winners act. The people who change their lives are the ones who start before they're ready. They launch the project, start the routine, apply for the opportunity, speak up, take the risk, put themselves in the game. Not because everything is aligned, but because they refuse to be paralyzed by the illusion of readiness. They understand that action creates energy, that movement builds confidence, that even a small step in the right direction is better than standing still. And when you take that step, the world responds. Doors open, resources appear, opportunities reveal themselves, not before you act, but because you acted. You have to stop lying to yourself about waiting. You're not waiting for the right time. You're avoiding discomfort. You're not protecting your future. You're protecting your ego. But ego doesn't build dreams. Ego keeps you safe, small, and stuck. If you want to break free, you need to be willing to look stupid, to be a beginner, to fall on your face, because that's how every master starts. There is no shortcut. There is only movement. And every day you don't take action is a day you choose fear over growth and excuses over evolution. The question isn't whether the time is right. The question is whether you're committed. Are you willing to start messy? Are you willing to face rejection? Are you willing to fail forward instead of standing still? If you are, then you already have everything you need. You don't need another sign. You don't need more advice. You don't need permission. You just need to move, to act, to begin. Because the truth is, nothing changes until you do. Most people spend their lives trying to be liked, trying to be accepted, trying to make sure everyone is comfortable around them, even if it means shrinking themselves. They agree when they don't want to, smile when they're hurting, stay silent when they should speak, and bend their own boundaries just to maintain peace with others. But real peace isn't the absence of conflict. It's the presence of alignment. If you're constantly out of alignment with your own values just to please people, you're not at peace. You're at war with yourself. You think you're avoiding problems by keeping everyone happy, but all you're doing is slowly eroding your own confidence, your own worth, your own identity. The need to be liked becomes a prison, and every time you prioritize other people's opinions over your own truth, you tighten the chains. You weren't created to be everyone's favorite. You weren't built to fit into every circle, be understood by every mind, or tolerated by every heart. And that's not your weakness. That's your power. The moment you stop caring what others think is the moment you reclaim your life. It doesn't mean you become cold or arrogant. It means you become clear. You know who you are, what you stand for, and what you will and won't tolerate. You're no longer available for fake approval, shallow conversations, or conditional relationships. You stop performing. You stop proving. You stop playing small to make others feel big. And suddenly you feel free. Free to be fully yourself without apology. There's a massive difference between being kind and being a doormat. One comes from strength, the other from fear. People pleasing isn't kindness, it's manipulation. It's trying to control how others see you so you can avoid rejection. But rejection is a part of life. Not everyone will like you. Not everyone will agree with you. Not everyone will support you. And that's okay, because you don't need everyone. You just need the right ones. And the right ones don't require you to shrink, twist, or betray yourself. They love the real you, the honest you, the strong you, the one who doesn't compromise their values for validation. When you're obsessed with being liked, you start losing your ability to make decisions for yourself. You start second-guessing everything. You walk on eggshells, hoping to offend no one, but in the process, you offend your own soul. You say yes when you want to say no. You stay when you should leave. You accept less than you deserve, hoping that if you just love more, do more, give more, then maybe, just maybe, they'll approve of you. But approval isn't love, control isn't connection, and if someone only respects you when you betray yourself, they never really respected you to begin with. You have to understand that your worth isn't negotiable. It doesn't increase when someone compliments you, and it doesn't decrease when someone criticizes you. It just is. It's rooted in your existence, not in anyone's opinion. When you know that, when you feel that in your bones, you stop begging people to see you. You stop chasing relationships that drain you. You stop needing the crowd to clap for you because you've learned to clap for yourself. That's when you become dangerous, not to others, but to the version of you that was always waiting for permission. Freedom doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being real. It comes from showing up without masks, without pretending, without needing constant reassurance. It comes from honoring your voice, even if it shakes, from holding your line, even when others push back, from walking away from anything that asks you to become less of yourself. You don't owe anyone your silence. You don't owe anyone your sacrifice. You don't owe anyone the diluted version of who you really are. And the moment you let go of the need to be liked, you make space for something much more powerful, the courage to be respected. Being respected won't always make you popular. It might mean losing people. It might mean being misunderstood. It might mean standing alone sometimes. But that's the cost of integrity. That's the price of authenticity. And it's worth it. Because when you respect yourself, when you draw the line, when you stop performing for approval, you attract a different energy. You attract people who value honesty, not flattery. People who appreciate depth, not perfection. People who see you, not just what you can do for them. And those are the connections that nourish you, not drain you. Those are the relationships that help you rise, not shrink. Comparison is the thief of joy. It's a phrase you've probably heard before, but its meaning goes far deeper than a simple cliche. When you constantly measure yourself against others, you're choosing to live in a mindset of scarcity instead of abundance. You're choosing to focus on what you lack rather than what you have. And that choice steals your peace, your confidence, and ultimately your progress. The moment you start comparing your journey to someone else's highlight reel, you lose sight of your own path. You forget that every person's life struggles and timing are unique. You start feeling like you're not enough, like you're behind, like you're missing something crucial. And that feeling is toxic. People often fall into the trap of comparison because it's an easy shortcut for self-evaluation. Instead of looking inward and honestly assessing where they are and what they need to do, they look outward for validation or measurement. But the truth is, no one else's success story can define your value or your potential. Your race isn't against anyone else. It's against your own limitations and excuses. When you focus on others, you lose focus on yourself. You waste energy on envy, doubt, and frustration instead of on growth, learning, and action. And the more you do that, the farther away you get from the life you want to create. Social media has made comparison worse than ever. It's a constant stream of curated moments designed to show the best side of people's lives. You scroll through posts of achievements, celebrations, perfect bodies, and glamorous experiences, and forget that what you see is only a fraction of reality. You don't see the struggle, the failures, the late nights, or the sacrifices behind those pictures. You only see the highlight reel, and then you judge yourself based on that. It's a recipe for insecurity and self-doubt. It's like comparing your messy, unfinished painting to someone else's framed masterpiece. But your journey is yours alone, messy and imperfect, and that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Comparison also leads to procrastination and paralysis. When you feel like you're not measuring up, you might convince yourself that you're not ready, not capable, or not worthy. You might delay starting your goals because you think you need to be like someone else first. But the truth is, the only way to become better is by doing your own work at your own pace. Growth is a process, not a race. When you stop comparing, you free yourself to focus on your own progress, no matter how slow or imperfect it looks to others. Every small step forward is a victory. Every lesson learned is a win. And those wins add up, building momentum that comparison can never create. The key to breaking free from comparison is shifting your mindset from competition to curiosity. Instead of asking, why can't I be like them? Ask, what can I learn from them? Instead of envying someone's success, study their strategies, their habits, their mindset. Use others' achievements as inspiration, not intimidation. Celebrate other people's wins without feeling like your own lose value, because their success doesn't diminish yours. It simply shows what's possible. When you adopt this mindset, you become a student of growth rather than a victim of envy. You open yourself up to learning and collaboration instead of bitterness and resentment. Self-awareness is another powerful tool against comparison. When you know your values, your goals, and your strengths, you become grounded in your own identity. You stop looking outward for validation because you're already confident in who you are and what you're working toward. This doesn't mean you become arrogant or closed off. It means you're secure enough to walk your own path with focus and intention. If you understand that your journey will have different milestones, timelines, and challenges than anyone else's, and that's okay. You become comfortable being a work in progress, trusting that your effort will pay off in its own time. Gratitude also plays a critical role in defeating comparison. When you cultivate gratitude for what you already have, the skills, opportunities, relationships, and experiences, you shift your attention away from what you don't have. Gratitude rewires your brain to see abundance instead of lack. It reminds you that your life is valuable right now, not only when you reach some future destination. And when you're grateful, you become less vulnerable to the comparison trap because you recognize your own blessings and achievements. Remember that comparison isn't just a mental habit, it's also an emotional one. It triggers feelings of inadequacy, jealousy, and insecurity that can spiral out of control if left unchecked. That's why it's important to practice self-compassion. When you catch yourself comparing, gently remind yourself that you're human and imperfect, and that's perfectly okay. Treat yourself with the same kindness you would offer a friend who's struggling. Don't beat yourself up for feeling envy or doubt. Acknowledge those feelings, then redirect your focus back to your own growth. Breaking free from comparison is a daily practice, not a one-time decision. It requires mindfulness and intention. It means setting boundaries with social media, curating the content you consume, and surrounding yourself with supportive people who uplift rather than compete. It means reminding yourself regularly of your progress and your unique journey. It means focusing on what you can control, your actions, your attitude, your effort, and letting go of what you can't. Other people's opinions, achievements, or timelines. When you stop comparing, you unlock your true potential. You stop chasing approval and start chasing excellence. You stop living in the shadow of others and start shining in your own light. You realize that the only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. And that realization sets you free to focus on yourself, to grow without limits, and to live a life that's authentically yours. You have to realize that your energy is your most valuable resource. How you spend it determines everything: your mood, your motivation, your success, and your overall quality of life. Yet so many people waste their energy on things that don't serve them. Toxic relationships, negative thoughts, unnecessary drama, and distractions that pull them away from what really matters. If you want to truly focus on yourself and stop being stupid with your time and effort, the first step is to guard your energy fiercely. You must become aware of where it's going and who or what is draining it. Because once your energy is depleted, everything else suffers: your productivity, your health, your happiness, and your ability to grow. One of the biggest energy drains comes from toxic people, those who constantly complain, criticize, or manipulate. These individuals thrive on conflict and negativity, and when you engage with them, you give them permission to invade your peace. You might feel obligated to listen, to fix, or to respond, but every second spent in their emotional chaos chips away at your vitality. The problem is many people mistake this kind of being there for loyalty or kind. True loyalty is protecting your own well-being first so you can show up fully for others when it counts. You can't pour from an empty cup. And if you allow toxic energy to consume you, you won't have anything left to give. Learning to set boundaries, saying no without guilt, and walking away when necessary is not selfish. It's essential for your survival and growth. Another major energy waster is getting caught up in other people's drama or problems. It's easy to fall into the trap of playing the rescuer, trying to solve everyone's issues or absorb their emotions. But when you do that, you lose focus on your own path. You start living in other people's stories instead of your own. The truth is, you're not responsible for fixing everyone or carrying their burden. You can be compassionate without sacrificing yourself. Protecting your energy means choosing where you invest your emotional labor and recognizing when it's time to step back. Your growth requires space and focus, and you can't create that if you're drowning in someone else's chaos. Your mindset is another key factor in managing your energy. Negative self-talk, doubt, and worry are constant internal energy thieves. When you repeatedly tell yourself you're not good enough, you're failing, or you'll never succeed, you're draining your motivation and confidence. These thoughts become a self-fulfilling prophecy because your energy follows your focus. If you focus on what's wrong or what could go badly, you attract more of that into your life. Conversely, when you consciously choose positive, empowering thoughts, you boost your energy and open the door to new possibilities. This doesn't mean ignoring problems or being unrealistically optimistic. It means shifting your focus from defeat to possibility, from fear to action. Time is a finite energy resource, and how you spend it has a direct impact on your energy levels. Many people waste hours scrolling through social media, watching meaningless content, or engaging in low-value conversations. These activities drain your mental energy and distract you from your goals. It's not about eliminating leisure or relaxation. Rest is vital, but it's about being intentional with your time. What are you consuming? What habits are you feeding? When you're mindful of your time and energy investment, you become the master of your day, not a slave to distraction. Physical health is deeply connected to energy management. Poor sleep, unhealthy diet, lack of exercise, and chronic stress all sap your energy reserves. You can't expect to be focused and productive if your body feels tired and sluggish. Prioritizing your physical well-being isn't a luxury. It's a necessity. Regular exercise boosts your mood and energy. Quality sleep restores your mind and body. Treat yourselves and supports cognitive function. When you treat your body as a temple and care for it consistently, you increase your energy capacity and your ability to face challenges head on. Learning to recharge is equally important. Energy management isn't about pushing harder nonstop. It's about knowing when to rest and reset. If you're constantly on the go without pause, you risk burnout, exhaustion, and losing sight of your purpose. Scheduled breaks, time in nature, meditation, or hobbies that bring you joy are not indulgences. They're tools to replenish your energy. When you allow yourself to recharge, you return stronger, more focused, and more creative. Your environment also plays a crucial role in your energy. Surrounding yourself with positivity, inspiration, and support can elevate your mood and drive. Conversely, cluttered spaces, negativity, and unsupportive people drain your energy and cloud your focus. Take time to create an environment that nurtures your goals and well-being. This could mean decluttering your living space, seeking out mentors and friends who uplift you, or creating rituals that signal focus and productivity. Managing your energy is about taking responsibility. You have the power to choose what you expose yourself to, how you respond to challenges, and where you put your attention. No one else can do this for you. When you guard your energy like the precious asset it is, you create a foundation for lasting success and fulfillment. Energy is the fuel for your dreams. Protect it, nurture it, and use it wisely. When it comes to focusing on yourself and making real progress, one of the most powerful skills you can develop is the ability to say no. Saying no is not just a word, it's a boundary, a declaration of your priorities, and an act of self-respect. Yet so many people struggle with it. They fear disappointing others, they worry about conflict, or they simply feel guilty for turning down requests. But what they don't realize is that every time they say yes to something that doesn't align with their goals, values, or energy, they are saying no to themselves. They are sacrificing their own growth, happiness, and progress for the sake of someone else's convenience. Learning to say no is about reclaiming control over your time, your energy, and your life. When you say yes to everything, you become a people pleaser, a yes man or yes woman who spreads themselves thin. Your attention becomes fragmented, your energy depleted, and your goals delayed. You start each day with a long list of obligations that don't necessarily move you forward. You become reactive rather than proactive, constantly responding to other people's demands instead of focusing on your own vision. This kind of lifestyle leads to burnout, resentment, and a loss of direction. It's not sustainable. You were not designed to carry everyone else's burdens or to be endlessly available. Your time and energy are limited resources, precious and finite. Saying no is the way you protect them. Saying no also means becoming clear on what you really want. It requires knowing your priorities, your values, and your goals deeply enough to recognize when something doesn't fit. If you say yes to everything, you dilute your focus. You blur the lines between what's urgent and what's important. You become a jack of all trades, master of none. But when you say no selectively, you say yes more powerfully. Your yeses become commitments, investments in yourself and your future. Saying no isn't about being negative or selfish. It's about being intentional and strategic. It's about honoring your own path and making space for the things that truly matter. Many people confuse saying no with rejection or failure. They think that if they say no, they will lose opportunities, friendships, or respect. But the truth is the opposite. People who respect themselves and their boundaries gain more respect from others. They show that they value their own time and energy, which sets a standard for how others treat them. Saying no respectfully can actually strengthen relationships because it fosters honesty and clarity. It teaches people what to expect from you and helps avoid misunderstandings or overcommitments. When you communicate your no clearly and kindly, you empower both yourself and others. Saying no also protects your mental health. When you agree to things out of obligation, guilt, or fear, you create internal conflict. You experience stress, anxiety, and sometimes even depression because you're living a life that isn't true to yourself. Over time, this disconnect between your actions and your desires erodes your sense of self-worth and fulfillment. Saying no is an act of self-care. It's a way of saying, I matter, my needs matter, my goals matter. It helps you create a life that reflects your authentic self rather than a life designed to please others or meet external expectations. Learning to say no takes practice and courage. It won't always feel comfortable at first. You might worry about how people will react, or you might feel guilty for putting yourself first. But discomfort is a sign of growth. Every time you say no, when you really mean it, you build strength, confidence, and clarity. You become better at recognizing your limits and more skilled at communicating your boundaries. Over time, saying no becomes a natural part of your life, not a source of stress. Another important aspect of saying no is understanding that it's not just about rejecting requests from others. It's also about rejecting distractions and temptations. Saying no to procrastination, to unhealthy habits, to negative thoughts, and to anything that pulls you away from your focus is just as important. Your no's to these internal challenges are just as powerful as the no's you give externally. They build resilience, discipline, and commitment to your own growth. You might find it helpful to have some strategies for saying no effectively. For example, you can delay your response to give yourself time to think, use polite but firm language, or offer an alternative when appropriate. Remember, saying no doesn't have to be harsh or final. It can be kind and flexible while still protecting your boundaries. The key is to be honest and clear about your reasons without over-explaining or apologizing excessively. At its core, saying no is about taking ownership of your life. It's about refusing to be controlled by others' demands or societal pressure. It's about recognizing that your time and energy are your responsibility and that protecting them is essential for your success and happiness. When you master the art of saying no, you free yourself to say yes to the things that truly matter, your dreams, your passions, your well-being. You create space for growth, creativity, and joy. Saying no is a declaration of self-love. It's a statement that you are worth protecting, worth investing in, and worth prioritizing. It's a rejection of distraction, overwhelm, and exhaustion. It's the foundation of a focused, empowered life where you control your destiny rather than being controlled by others. The more you practice saying no, the more you reclaim your power and step fully into the person you are meant to be. When you're on a journey of self-improvement and focusing on yourself, it's crucial to understand the power of patience and persistence. So often people expect instant results and immediate transformation. They want to see big changes overnight. And when those changes don't come as fast as they hoped, they get discouraged and give up. But real growth, the kind that lasts and shapes your life, doesn't happen quickly or easily. It's a slow, steady process that requires consistent effort, unwavering patience, and a willingness to keep going even when progress feels invisible. One of the biggest mistakes people make is measuring their success by immediate outcomes. They look for quick wins or dramatic shifts and believe that if those don't happen, they're failing. This mindset sets you up for frustration because transformation is often invisible to the naked eye in the beginning, The habits you build, the mindset shifts you adopt, the small daily decisions you make, these are the real seeds of change. But they take time to grow roots and bear fruit. If you rush or try to force change, you risk burning out or losing motivation. Instead, patience allows you to trust the process, knowing that every small step forward is progress. Persistence is the companion to patience. It's the refusal to quit, no matter how hard or slow the journey feels. When you persist, you push through setbacks, failures, and moments of doubt. You understand that obstacles are part of the growth process, not signs that you should stop. Every successful person you admire has faced challenges and kept going. They didn't wait for perfect conditions or motivation. They showed up consistently day after day. Persistence turns potential into achievement and dreams into reality. Building patience and persistence starts with shifting your perspective on failure and setbacks. Instead of viewing failure as defeat, see it as feedback, a lesson that guides your next step. Setbacks are inevitable, but they don't define you. What defines you is how you respond. When you're patient with yourself, you allow room for mistakes and learning. When you're persistent, you use those lessons to adjust and keep moving forward. This mindset transforms challenges into opportunities and keeps your focus on growth rather than perfection. Another key to cultivating patience is managing your expectations. Understand that life's most meaningful changes happen gradually. Your skills improve with practice, your mindset evolves with reflection, and your circumstances shift with consistent action. Expecting instant transformation only sets you up for disappointment. Instead, celebrate the small wins and recognize that slow progress is still progress. When you acknowledge your efforts, no matter how minor they seem, you build confidence and motivation to continue. Patience also means being kind to yourself during the journey. You will have days when you don't perform at your best, when motivation is low, or when distractions pull you away. Instead of beating yourself up, practice self-compassion. Treat yourself like you would treat a close friend going through a tough time. This kindness nurtures resilience and helps you recover faster. It reminds you that growth is a marathon, not a sprint. Persistence requires discipline and focus. It means setting clear goals and breaking them down into manageable steps. When your goals are overwhelming, it's easy to lose momentum, but when you create a plan and commit to small, consistent actions, persistence becomes more achievable. Each completed task builds momentum and reinforces your commitment. Even on tough days, these small actions keep you moving forward. Accountability can also strengthen persistence. Sharing your goals with someone you trust or joining a community with similar aspirations can provide support and motivation. When others are aware of your commitment, you're more likely to stay consistent. Accountability creates external pressure that complements your internal drive, helping you persist when your own motivation wanes. It's important to remember that patience and persistence are not passive qualities. They require active effort and mindset shifts. Patience means actively choosing to trust the process and delay gratification. Persistence means actively choosing to show up even when you don't feel like it. Both require awareness and intention. When you cultivate these qualities, you build a foundation for lasting success. In the broader sense, patience and persistence help you build resilience, the ability to bounce back from difficulties stronger and wiser. Resilience is what keeps you going when life throws curveballs. It's the mental toughness that protects your focus and determination. Without patience and persistence, resilience falters, and you risk giving up at the first sign of struggle. Embracing patience and persistence transforms your relationship with your goals and yourself. You stop chasing quick fixes and start investing in deep, meaningful growth. You learn to appreciate the journey as much as the destination. You become someone who can weather storms, stay committed, and keep growing no matter what. This mindset not only leads to success, but also cultivates peace, confidence, and fulfillment along the way. To truly focus on yourself and make meaningful progress, you must master the art of letting go of past mistakes, regrets, toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, and anything else that holds you back. Holding on to these burdens weighs you down emotionally, mentally, and even physically. It's like carrying a heavy backpack filled with stones that slow your every step. The longer you cling to what no longer serves you, the more energy you waste and the less room you create for new opportunities and growth. Letting go is not about forgetting or ignoring your past. It's about freeing yourself from its chains so you can move forward with clarity and purpose. Many people struggle with letting go because they confuse it with giving up or losing control. They think that if they release something, they are admitting defeat or losing a part of themselves. But the truth is, holding on tightly to pain, anger, or resentment keeps you stuck in a cycle of suffering. It prevents healing and growth. Letting go is an act of courage and strength. It's taking control of your own happiness instead of allowing your past or other people to dictate your present and future. When you let go, you reclaim your power. One of the biggest obstacles to letting go is the habit of replaying negative memories or self-critical thoughts over and over. This mental loop drains your energy and reinforces limiting beliefs about who you are and what you can achieve. For example, if you keep telling yourself that you failed or aren't good enough because of something that happened, you trap yourself in that narrative. Breaking free from this cycle requires conscious effort. It means recognizing when you are stuck in negative thinking and choosing to redirect your focus toward positive, empowering thoughts. Over time, this rewires your brain and creates space for new beliefs that support your growth. Letting go also applies to relationships that drain you rather than uplift you. Toxic relationships, whether with friends, family members, or romantic partners, consume your emotional energy and cloud your judgment. Sometimes people hold on to these relationships out of fear of loneliness or guilt, but staying in a harmful connection out of obligation only limits your ability to focus on yourself and your goals. Learning to identify when a relationship is toxic and having the courage to set boundaries or walk away is essential. This doesn't mean you have to be harsh or unkind. It means prioritizing your well-being and creating space for healthier, more supportive connections. Another important aspect of letting go is releasing the need for perfection and control. Many people cling to unrealistic standards, fearing failure or mistakes. This fear can paralyze you, preventing you from taking risks or trying new things. When you let go of perfectionism, you free yourself to experiment, learn, and grow without the constant pressure to be flawless. Accepting that mistakes are part of the process allows you to move forward with less anxiety and more confidence. It also opens the door to creativity and innovation because you're not limited by rigid expectations. Letting go doesn't mean you abandon your goals or values. Rather, it means releasing attachment to how things should be and accepting reality as it is. This acceptance creates peace and reduces resistance, making it easier to focus on what you can control, your actions, attitude, and effort. When you stop fighting against circumstances or dwelling on what ifs, you conserve energy and mental space for positive change. You become more adaptable and resilient, able to navigate challenges without being overwhelmed. Practicing forgiveness is a powerful way to let go. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning hurtful behavior or forgetting what happened. It means freeing yourself from the burden of bitterness and resentment. Holding on to grudges only keeps you tied to pain and blocks your progress. Forgiving others and yourself releases that weight and allows healing to begin. It's a gift you give yourself, not just a favor to someone else. When you forgive, you reclaim your peace and open your heart to joy and growth. Letting go is also about shedding limiting beliefs that no longer serve you. These are the stories you tell yourself about your capabilities, worth, or potential. They might sound like, I'm not smart enough, I don't deserve success, or I'll never change. These beliefs act like invisible chains holding you back from pursuing your dreams. The process of letting go involves identifying these beliefs, challenging their truth, and replacing them with empowering affirmations. This mental shift is crucial for breaking free from self-imposed limitations You don't have to do this alone. Seeking support from mentors, coaches, or therapists can provide guidance and encouragement as you learn to let go. Sometimes external perspectives help you see what's holding you back more clearly. They can also offer tools and techniques for releasing emotional baggage and building healthier habits. Surrounding yourself with positive influences and like-minded people reinforces your commitment to growth and self-care. Letting go is a gradual process. It doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience, self-compassion, and persistence. There will be moments when old feelings resurface or doubts creep in. That's normal. The key is to keep practicing awareness and choice, reminding yourself that you have the power to release what no longer serves you. Each time you let go, you lighten your load and create more space for joy, creativity, and progress. In essence, letting go is about freeing yourself from the past to fully embrace the present and build the future you desire. It's a transformative act that empowers you to focus on yourself without the weight of unnecessary burdens. When you master this skill, you unlock a new level of freedom, peace, and clarity that fuels your journey forward.